And after I won the 2 Oscars, which is the Academy win, I was on the show many times as a presenter, and I was nominated 10 times. And I would look at my 2 Oscar boys, and I would say, tonight, maybe I'll bring you home a friend. Well, it didn't work out that I ever brought home the 3rd Oscar and a friend. So I wasn't home this time before the Emmy show, which I would love to have been there to accept it myself. I would have probably said to the 2 Oscar boys again, maybe tonight I will bring you home a friend. So now, because the Emmy Award for Best Dramatic Actress really is not terribly different anymore than the Oscar. It's become a very important award, and that after all these many years I've gotten another important award. So when I get back home, I shall bring home a friend, and I shall call it a girl, and I shall put it between, well, Emmy, that's a girl. I shall put it between the 2 Oscars, and I'll say, I finally brought you home a friend.
Does it mean a lot at your, if I may mention your age,
Certainly.
71?
That's right.
To get another award?
Well, it isn't a question of being 71. It's just that I was fortunate enough to get a script and a part, because in the beginning is the word, and if you don't get that script and that part, you haven't any chance at this. So Michael de Guzman, this brilliant young writer, gave me a chance at this, and I made it. I did it.
Does admiration from your fellow actors affect you in any way?
No, not brought up in New England. Never been affected in my life in that way.
I ask that because I'm sure you know well that Lauren Bacall started her autobiography with these words. And these are the first lines of the book.
I know, I read it. I met her.
Well,
little girl.
Let me remind people what she said. She said, all I had known of films was Bette Davis and Leslie Howard. She was my idea of perfection.
Well, I met her at 16. About 2 years before she went to California through a mutual friend of mine who, and her uncle had told my mutual friend that his niece wanted very much to meet me. So she and another little girl came to a hotel where I was in New York. And we met and spent, I think we had tea or something, I've forgotten what. And we finally said goodbye, and after I closed the door of the rooms where I was, there was a terrific thud in the hall, and the girl with her had fainted dead away with excitement. And I remember Lauren was so furious with her, because Lauren was always kind of marvelously cool and sophisticated even at that age. But I think I was the first person she ever met. That's right.
Do you think that you terrified her at that point, even though she didn't faint?
No, she wasn't terrified at all. No, she was marvelous, very natural and with it. The other girl was the one that was terrified. And the strain was too much, and she just, well, it was just a scream.
She was probably quite terrified, though, when you came into her dressing room, when she was in applause, playing the Margot Channing part.
No, she wasn't terrified at all. Of course not. Why would she be terrified? She was a very famous woman at that time, very successful in it, and we'd known each other a very long time. Although I never knew her socially well in later years, and we never happened to work together. Oh, I don't think she was terrified at all. I would hope not. She knew me well enough not to be terrified.
Do you think that you do sometimes rather frighten people?
Oh, it's just not me. It's anybody who's very, very famous that you've never met before. I've gone through this experience many times. No, it's true of all people who are very well known, I think. You know, they're just kind of scared.
Are you critical, very self-critical of your own work when you look at it?
I don't like it very much, no. I never have liked myself very much, no. When I see it many, many years later, I'm able to sort of separate myself from it. But, no, I've never been terribly enamored of myself. I've never been ever totally satisfied with anything I did, which is good. You better stay that way. And the day that you're really satisfied with yourself totally. My favorite experience on that subject, and I learned it very early, was one night in the theater. I came home to my mother and said, tonight I just really gave the greatest performance of my life. I was magnificent tonight. And my mother said, I was there. That is the worst performance you've ever given because you were having too much fun doing it. In other words, I had lost control. Oh, my mother was an incredible woman, but she wasn't a stage mother at all. She just worked very hard to give me money to go to school and all that. And I don't think without her belief, it's possible I might not have pursued this. I asked my daughter, my oldest daughter, once, what would be the one really difficult thing I had as a mother. And she said I was always unpredictable. So in that area, I think I am an unpredictable person and very quick about things. And in that area, probably too much. But it depends upon the other person.
When you're not working, do you feel absolutely alive? Are you the sort of actress or the sort of woman that has to work to feel alive?
No, I'm very domestic. No, I do not need that all the time. So, as a matter of fact, you should get away from it. Mm. I'm glad I have it now the children are all married and grown up, etc., because I think one should keep going for one's brain. I think you can become very, very lazy mentally. So I think I'm very fortunate. Once the family is gone, that I have a profession. I think any woman that has is very fortunate. While I'm doing the work, I enjoy it, but my children definitely what make me the happiest today. I think most of us lead the lonely life. You know, I went to Puccini's house in Italy, this wonderful farmhouse where he used to go out on the marshes and come back having written one fine day and all. I imagine he had a lonely life when he was in that. You could feel it in that home. And I think we all do.
Looking back, if you had to pick your equivalent of the aria One Fine Day, could you do that? Just pick one movie? I was so fortunate with the incredible scripts I was given. I could certainly pick in the early years one of the great scripts. Certainly was Dark Victory. Another great story, great part, great script was Voyager. Jezebel was when I first worked with William Wyler, who I think is the greatest director that Hollywood will ever have. Is certainly one. Then we do a long jump of many parts I loved. Elizabeth I adored doing. Then you do a long jump to probably Eve, which, as I told Mankiewicz, resurrected me from the dead, because I had made many very, very nice films after I left Warner's, but none of them made money, and that's the criteria in the long run. Eve, then of course next along comes Jane. And then I suppose Strangers, that I just won the award for, is the next greatest part I've been given to play. What I haven't warned you about, Miss Davis, is this: we usually ask our guests on Woman's Hour to choose a bit of music, just to end off the interview with.
I Wish You Love. It's my favorite song in the world. I made a record here, you know. I made an LP in England here, which nobody did anything with, tragically enough, EMI, and did nothing with it in America. And that was the last song. That's one of my, well, at my funeral, that is going to be played.
So I Wish You Love.
And it's to my children.
Sung by Miss Bette Davis.
Oh, that's the last of the LP. We did 2 whole sides, about 12 songs. And with the exception of 2 lines in that, it should be sung to your children about setting them free and all that. So that's to be played at my funeral, and I hope the children cry madly. I'll never know, thank God. Maybe they'll say thank God. You never know.
Miss Davis, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much.